And then just general advice that, try to give, all things being equal, right? Optionality and maximizing choices tend to be the ones that, if at least you have the awareness to recognize you don't know everything, expose yourself, right? And just get into action, start moving. In veterans that come into, whatever transition they're doing, but the exposure to leadership at a young level and also their ability to make decisions in ambiguity. And he said what you should focus on is helping communicate those things that are transferable to the job that you're maybe pursuing, right? In addition to all the character stuff you're talking about. And that's one way to begin the process of at least educating firms on how they can engage with the veteran community in a way that, they understand can make value right away. And then on the other side, as we're speaking to the veterans, I think that is one of the big benefits of 51 Vets, where they get exposed to a bunch of the different tracks that are available to them. And it's funny, a lot of times there are many organizations out there that support veterans in general. We have chosen to focus on special operators and fighter pilots for specific reasons. But one of those is that, they tend to seek similarly challenging career paths. And then also when we, in a way, put them as when they get through to the other side, ideally they are the city on a hill of, they're succeeding, and they can then demonstrate to the civilian world, whether it's in that firm or that job, that veterans can do this too. And now we can potentially break down that barrier for other veterans to pursue afterwards. But in our organization, we educate the veterans on the different opportunities there. And we're constantly asking the questions of, if you at least first of all, you got to figure out what you don't know. And then if you're not positive where you want to be, can we start to at least remove things from the plate so you can start to isolate down? To your point is, a lot of times veterans are like, well, I can do anything. And we try to hone that story in on, look, it has to be authentic, but you do need to give something very specific so that people can help you. And that's the part of the community that we have where they can engage with folks that are in transition with them as part of their tribe, but also those that have recently gone through it, and then our civilian counterparts and members of the advisory board that have been around, successful careers for 20 and 30 years. So
I want to go a little deeper on that, because you said that you have this population of people who can think they can do anything, and your job is to focus them, right? And that counsel that I eventually had to heed, right, to focus me in, as so many do now. How do you get the veteran, the transitioning veteran, though, to understand that this isn't final? Your first job out of your career in the military is probably not going to be the defining moment for the rest of your life. Is it important? Yes, let's not be wrong. But we go into the military, and like you talked about your husband, I had entered with the same thought process. I'm going to be here for a career, 20, 30 years. And so we inherently approach transition with that same mindset. I'm going to get this right now, today. And if I don't, now I'm screwed for the rest of my life. How do you get them to understand that sometimes good enough is good enough?
Real quick, I can try to address that. And you're spot on. In case studies you can point to, right? Look ahead to these different people that you look up to and examine their path. And many of them meander quite a bit around. And then just general advice that, try to give, all things being equal, right? Optionality and maximizing choices tend to be the ones that, if at least you have the awareness to recognize you don't know everything, expose yourself, right? And just get into action, start moving. And then another just a formula, just make sure you can learn, earn, and collect a merit badge along the way, meaning you're going to learn a new skill that maybe helps you get to where you want to go. It's time to make money, right? We're not doing this philanthropically. And then, collect a merit badge. A lot of times, there's a risk factor if you go down a path that the civilian world doesn't recognize. There is some value to cutting your teeth. I chose to do it because I thought it was valuable to go to a firm that people would recognize what that career path would provide to somebody as a skill level and just technical ability as a baseline, right? So I went to Goldman as a banker, and, fortunately or unfortunately, I have that now as something that people can look to say, okay, Chris did these things in the military, but I know what banking is, and it makes it a little bit easier of a conversation to have, and then it does potentially open doors. And so that's part of the advice I try to give. If you're not positive, then pick something that will at least open more doors for you.